What's up, Stoic Sam?
What's up? Okay, so why do you think that voter ID laws are so prohibitory for people?
Because usually when people try to implement them, they usually try to target the types of IDs that people use that belong to certain voting demographics, rather than like coming out and saying like, "Hey, we should have voter ID. We're going to roll out free ID for everybody, like on the federal level, so that nobody's disenfranchised by this law."
Okay, but you're aware that over 200 million people in the U.S. have a driver's license. You could easily turn that into identification.
You're aware that 200 million people makes up less than 70% of the U.S., right? Like that's still
Yeah,
30% of
but the
people that.
voting population is 238 million, and 227 million have a driver license.
Even if I were to assume that that voting population or whatever has a driver's license, that's still 20 million people that are disenfranchised. There's still 10% of people that don't have it.
Okay, and you don't think a bigger roadblock is registering to vote, which isn't present in European countries, while they actually do have voter ID laws?
My understanding is that registering to vote can be done for free. Can't you do that for free via mail? Like they mail you out a thing and then you literally fill it out. I don't even think you need postage on it, but
It's still more of a hassle than just bringing my driver's license to the polls.
it's not about bringing your driver's license, it's about getting a driver's license.
A vast majority of people do have driver's license.
If I were to give you a bowl of cereal and I were to say the majority of the cereal in this bowl is not going to be poisonous and kill you, would you eat the cereal?
No,
Okay, if I keep saying majority over and over and over again, does that make my argument stronger?
it doesn't.
Okay, so
You're right.
I don't know why you keep saying majority of voters, majority. I agree with you, of
Okay,
course. That's just a numbers game, but the problem isn't about the majority. We're talking about the minority of people that would be disenfranchised.
So the number has to be equal to the amount of people that can vote.
No, I'm just saying that if you're going to put a roadblock in front of somebody for exercising a really, really important right, you need a really good reason to do that. Right now, I haven't seen any really good reasons being presented for why we need voter ID in the United States, knowing that that's going to disenfranchise some people from voting.
Well, isn't it really hard to track voter fraud without having voter ID laws? That's my perception in Sweden, at least.
I'm pretty sure that there are tons of ways that you can do research on finding out like fraudulent votes and going through votes and shit. They've tried to do it a ton in the United States. Do you think that the only reason we can't find voter fraud is just because it's hard to find if it happens?
No, I'm sure it's not a big problem, but I'm just saying that something that's possible. Let's say I could put hypothetically, if I know my brother doesn't vote, I could just mail in a ballot, could I, in his name, without any repercussion, basically.
I mean, I guess you could, but
Why should that be allowed? It's ridiculous.
I mean, it's not allowed. It's illegal.
It is illegal, but why is that so easily done? It could be easily done.
I mean, it
That's
could.
an impossibility in, let's say, Sweden, France, Germany.
How is it
Northern
impossible in
Ireland.
Sweden, France, or Germany?
I couldn't take my brother's ID and go to the poll and vote in his
Why
name.
couldn't you?
Just not because I don't look like him and I don't have the same name.
What if you looked like him?
Yeah, if I'm his twin, sure.
Do you? Okay, so you know that nobody checks your ID that closely, right? Nobody's gonna like run like a biometric face. Like if you've got a brother and you look roughly similar, you show them an ID, they're probably gonna let you through.
They look at them pretty significantly, at least in my experience here in Sweden. I'm not sure how it is in different countries.
I mean, on
I-
my
I
passport,
just-
I look completely different because my facial hair and my hair are different. And I've flown in and out of ARN a million times, and I'm willing to bet that your airport security is probably pretty serious. And they never like ask me to like hold my hair up or do something like. I don't even think I have any facial hair at all on my passport. I seriously doubt what you're saying right now. I could be wrong, but like as somebody that's been in and out of Stockholm a ton, it's not like at the airport they're like magnifying my passport picture under a glass or anything. I'm pretty sure you could walk in with a brother's ID, like show it to you, like, oh yeah, there you go, whatever, and then fine, as long as you don't look significantly different.
But why is that an argument? Should we just remove passports as well?
No, I'm just saying that if there was somebody that was so determined to fraudulently vote, it doesn't seem like just the ID would help if they were really going to go to that level. But it does seem like putting up that roadblock. But it doesn't seem like putting up that roadblock is going to prevent some percentage of people from voting, and there doesn't seem to be any good reason to do that. There's just this voter fraud that everybody keeps saying happens, like just doesn't seem to exist. So why put up these roadblocks for everybody else to vote?
Yeah, I agree, but I just think it's just a weird point to say that it's going to disenfranchise a large amount of people when it doesn't seem to be the case. And I think a bigger hurdle in America, at least, where you have to register to vote, where only 60% of the population, I mean the voting population, votes in America, while the numbers in Europe are significantly higher. It seems weird that that would be an argument in order for not implementing ID laws.
I mean, no one is saying that it's going to prevent a large amount of people from voting, but that it's going to prevent. It's all. Most people agree that it would be a small amount of people that are prevented from voting, but the small amount of people that are prevented from voting are probably going to disproportionately represent some group, whether it's poor people or black people or people of a certain party. Like generally, that's the argument. Is that
Yeah.
but like, if people wanted to make it so that you need it, this is a voter ID law that I would be on board with. If somebody said we need voter ID, so the federal government is going to issue a free ID to every single citizen in the mail, then I'd be more likely to be on board with that. But it doesn't seem to be the case where it goes. I'm willing to bet in Sweden you guys probably get some sort of ID for free. I'm guessing some sort
No,
of
we
like
don't.
you don't get anything. Do you,
No. Banks usually issued like a long time ago, maybe 20 years ago, you usually got an ID card for free, but that really isn't the case anymore. But I'm not sure. I think in America, our driver's license.
hold on, I've got. I don't know 100% because I have a Swedish
No, it's
girlfriend
fine.
that said, but there's a
You can
lot of
look it.
people
You
in
can look it
chat
up.
that are saying that you do get free ID in Sweden.
I've never gotten a free ID, so I'm not sure. I think it's 500 to get a.
You don't have like health cards or anything.
No, we don't have health cards. Only you have like friskvårdsbidrag, which is like if you go past certain amount, you get a card that pays for your healthcare. But the difference I think is in America. I think your driver's licenses are they valid IDs?
Sometimes, as long as they're not expired, sometimes it just depends on the place. But
Okay. But are they like could I identify myself with them at like a government institution?
at a government institution, could you use?
Yeah, driver's license.
Usually, yeah, yes,
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was valid.
yeah, it should be. Yes, it depends. Some places will require more specific forms of ID, but generally, a driver's license should be good in like 99% of scenarios. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that was everything.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if somebody wanted to pair like a free or incredibly accessible ID with like a voter ID thing, that'd be great. But every time people try to implement voter ID in the U.S., it's usually paired with a bunch of other things that seems to just try to keep people from voting.
Yeah, that might be the case in the US. I was just curious why. I think it's weird that America seems to be so against it, at least the Democrats, and while the rest of Europe has basically implemented it, except the UK, I think. Only Northern Ireland.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Well, thanks, buddy. Have fun. Be careful.
Bye.
Bye. Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed. It triggers the fuck out of me because I don't like Europeans and I don't like when they talk about their dumbass fucking Euroland, but every time I go to Europe and do anything with fucking Melina, I just have to concede every fucking argument to her because so much shit in America is just fucking horrible.